Let's go. Hey, what's up, y'all?
What's up? It's your boy Pasty Legs.
Hey, yo, Pasty Legs. What's up, dudes? Welcome to episode 30 of the Ape Audio Podcast.
Yes.
We are being joined today by
Derek
Prince-Cox, drummer, singer, screamer, music aficionado extraordinaire. Member. I'm gonna ring off the bands here, okay? And you can fill in the ones if I got any wrong.
Fill in the wanks.
Fill in the wanks. Arise and Ruin, Pure Blank, Wakeless, 5 Years, Guy and a Half, Jeremy and the Pink Band, playing with Amber McLean.
Amber McLean, but yes.
Amber McLean, The Stallion, Lawn Trout, and Richard Yanker and the Great Release.
Wow, dude, you did your homework.
Also, waiting on that record from Porcelain Giraffe.
Oh, Ceramic Giraffe.
Oh, so fuck.
Ceramic
I knew it was
Giraffe.
some type of textile.
I don't know. I don't think that's ever happening.
God damn it.
Yeah, I think most of those bands are kind of just made up. Like, we'll never actually put anything out, but, you know, it's fun to say you're in a band.
Yeah. Right? I knew a couple where there's no substance to them, but I thought it'd be funny to riddle them off, especially Richard Yanker and the Great Release.
That was all kinds of stupid.
The Great Release. I love that.
I didn't fucking come up with it, man. I don't know what to tell you.
Was that good? Was there anything I missed?
Oh, probably, man. But
Definitely.
no, that's a longer list than I can remember. So I think we're off to a good start.
Okay, most of them are defunct. What's still running?
So, Guy and a Half is the cover band I play in. We gig pretty much every month. Well, a lot of them are sort of in hiatus, but we'll get together for projects. I still play with Amber once in a blue moon. Wakeless just did a reunion. Arise, well, I don't know. We're always in talks about doing something maybe again. Like, nothing's really, like, dead, you know?
Right.
Fucking dead. Wait.
So metal, dude.
There is swearing on. I remember swearing on this podcast.
Yeah, let it fly.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
While our moms like to listen.
Yes.
Yeah, man. It's pretty much this Guy and a Half that's going. We get together every week. I also started playing bass in a band that just doesn't have a name yet.
Okay.
So yeah.
How recent is this?
Yeah, a couple of months anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's the vibe like?
It's kind of atmospheric. No vocals, or at
Like
least not yet.
troposphere, stratosphere.
I don't know, man. I mean, fuck.
I'm just fucking with you.
I want to say like ISIS, but not metal, you know?
Oh my god.
Wait, but not that ISIS. No. Shit.
Dope.
We're called Box Cutter, by the way. No, we're not.
I have a riddle for you.
Okay.
Are you ready?
I don't know.
What has 4 letters, never has 5, and sometimes has 9?
Sometimes? No. Fuck, I don't know, dude.
You gotta reach into the bag of dirty buttons and pull out the butthole button.
Ugh. This music lives.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ugh. I didn't know it then, and I can't remember it now. That's Brian McNeil, right?
Yeah, dude. I was watching this interview, Music Lives, yesterday, trying to dig up some dirt. And this man doesn't have loose lips. He doesn't let a lot fly. So I was grasping at straws here, and I was like, oh, maybe I'll ask him the riddle that this guy asked him. And it just went terribly. Do you still have the butthole button?
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
That's
it's in my
crazy.
studio.
Is it like a photorealistic ass, or is it like a illustration?
Oh, it looks pretty good. I don't know.
Is the butthole
got me
taking up the
excited.
whole button? Is the butthole taking up the whole button? Or?
I believe so, yeah.
It's pretty funny.
It's been a while, man. That's
Yeah,
wow.
I don't know. I think the video posting date was in like 2016 or something like that.
Well, it was
but it
right-
might have been even recorded way before that.
It wasn't way before that, but it was sort of just before or just as I was deciding to do a podcast.
Right, yeah. I think
Yeah.
in the video he had mentioned that you were just like getting started in like maybe you were just wrapping up the planning. I don't even think you had a name for it yet, but you knew that you were gonna make it.
I knew that I was gonna make it. I fucking made it.
Oh fuck! I missed the podcast during the introduction. So Derek also hosts the Wok Show,
I guess I'm competition,
Well, you
so
really
you're going to
messed
sweep
up
it under
there.
the carpet.
No, I didn't do it intentionally, I swear. It's actually like the thing that I'm the most interested in. Do Do you want to like break down for the listeners kind of what your vibe
Have
is?
a little breakdown.
Sure, yeah. Well, I mean, to your listeners, just had Ian and Patrick on for the last episode that came out last Sunday. So, be sure to check that out. But it's basically just getting together, much like this, just without the video aspect. And we just talk to, I talk to, musicians, artists, and entrepreneurs just about how they came to do what they do. Some of them are lucky enough to do it as their 9 to 5, and so we'll get into that too. But
Cool.
Yeah.
I your show sort of started off like specifically on like the entrepreneurial
It was supposed to.
venture, and then it started to like branch into music, obviously, because that's what most of your life has been.
Yeah, and I think that's it. Is like pretty much most musicians I know, and I'm sure the same is true for you. They all have that entrepreneurial spirit. So
Hell yeah.
even if they're not playing in bands anymore, they're still doing something. Like a good friend of mine, Brent Munger, he's into woodworking now. Stuff like that. But you never really lose that entrepreneurial itch.
Right.
So it did end up kind of becoming a music show, but that wasn't really my intent.
Sure. When it started like kind of branching off that way, do you just kind of go like, oh, it's grown legs of its own, like let's see where this goes?
Well, I think I was so fucking stressed out about just making it happen, period,
Yeah.
that I didn't even really think about it. It wasn't even really until I got together with Northwood Music and Matt Connell where we kind of talked about, the direction of the podcast. And he was like, yeah, but like, that's not what it is, dude. Like, why don't we just...
Oh, you were in like denial?
I guess. Shit. I don't know, man.
Yeah,
I was
run this
asleep at the wheel,
podcast.
man. I
I
don't know.
talk to CEOs and representatives
Yeah.
of major companies.
Well, yeah, I don't know.
Derek, what are you talking about?
I was just looking for a job, man.
Well, that's cool. That's cool. So now you've had a ton of musicians on, and like 9 to 5ers who have kind of got their own thing going on, like little startups and stuff sprinkled in there. I think it's like a dope mixture of like cool talent from around the area.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah,
definitely.
man.
You just got some everyday grinders going on your show.
Is that what we call them?
I don't know. I was gonna say you're gonna have people
There's
grinding.
a lot
on
of
your show,
grinder
grinding
users,
their-
I think.
Yeah. Let's just go with that.
Shit. Also, your show sounds so fucking professional, dude.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah,
Yeah,
when I
man.
listened
Shit, man.
back to the episode that we were on, because there was some cuts that were made, some pretty like swift cuts, and I couldn't even like know when some of the ones were like made. I don't know if like all of them were made with a break in between, but
Oh, yeah. No, I think I know what you mean. I just, I mean, I try
Yeah.
not to edit too much at all, really. But, when it comes down to it, I obviously try to make that edit as clean as I can.
yeah, it's super clean. 'Cause I
Well,
don't
hey,
even
thanks,
notice
man.
it.
I don't think I've ever
I feel
noticed
like it's
a jarring
brutal,
cut.
but
Yeah. No, I've never.
Well, of course you're gonna like overanalyze it, and you're gonna hear like the drop off of some tiny fuzz in the background, and go, "Oh, that's where it is."
The
That's where
AC
it
is the worst. So I'll do
Oh,
a
yeah.
take where the
Oh, no,
AC is cut
AC is
out
the
and then it
best.
cuts in. And you throw some compression on that shit, and
Right.
it's just,
Yeah.
oh, fuck. Everyone's going to notice.
Yeah.
What were some of like the biggest hurdles in like getting it up and running? Because we had some catastrophic shit happen to
Like,
us.
technically or just in general?
Either or.
Yeah.
I think in general, the biggest hurdle was just crippling anxiety, man.
Yeah.
Like, just
Throwing yourself out there on the internet.
exactly, yeah. And I mean, just walking towards the fire. But I found it really helped with my anxiety. And we were talking a little bit before the podcast about this, but yeah, that definitely would have been the biggest obstacle personally.
Right. When your mics went hot for like your first episode, did the anxiety just wash away, or was it kind of like driving the episode forward?
I feel like I function on a healthy amount of anxiety anyway, you know? Like, I'll be honest, even right now, just, well, what's he going to say next? What am I going to say? But you just fucking do it, right?
I think it's a blessing and a curse to
Yeah,
kind of have
yeah,
that
exactly.
go on. Because you can kind of have the forethought to maybe make a list of things you would like to say in your head and choose from that list. You're not exactly like living completely just out there, like just blurting out whatever's coming out of your mouth. But at the same time,
There's a rabbit hole you can go down.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
fuck.
You start thinking about it, and then you're just zoning out, and you're like, "Oh my god."
Next thing you know, you're talking about Kevin Hart on the Wok Show, episode 40. Beep, 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 beep.
What did you guys have to say about Kevin Hart?
it's
Oh,
funny
wait.
because at the end of the day, nothing really. I mean, tune in to find out is what I meant to say. But yeah, it was sort of just nothing. It kind of went in circles, and I think we were all kind of for against it.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So it was
I don't
those
know,
11 a.m. beers.
I think
Yeah.
he's a terrible.
Yeah,
I think he's a
what-
terrible comedian. So
Yeah,
that
you think
shit.
so?
Oh yeah,
Who's
Who's better than
yeah.
Kevin, huh?
Eric Andre.
They're totally different
Different
styles,
comedians.
though. Different styles.
Yeah, okay. That doesn't mean I have to like his style.
Yes, you do.
Why?
It's just the way it is, dude. I
Yeah.
don't make the rules.
What? Okay.
Kevin Hart's a good guy, though.
Yeah, he seems sweet. I still like his comedy.
Great guy, great guy.
Great guy said some shit.
yeah.
Yeah, fuck.
Move on. Next question. Next
Okay,
question.
okay. I have I have a little thing. I'm tweaking out over here. I have a little thing from a good friend of yours. Can you tell me about the day you guys finished tracking drums for Arise and Ruin's Final Dawn album, and the cops showed up at somebody's hotel?
Oh shit. Okay. So, wow, this takes me back. So there was a time when I used to have a few too many and go to sleep and then get up and walk around. This was one of those days. And we were in a hotel somewhere outside of Boston. And all I remember is waking up in the hallway of this hotel in my bathing suit. So I don't have any ID on me or anything. And the cops approached me. And yeah, so long story short, they marched me back to my room, knocked on the door. They opened it up. Said, "Who's this? Is this your friend?" "Yeah." "What are you guys doing here?" "Oh, we're a metal band." And the cop looks at my buddies and goes, "Too much metal for this guy." And then launches me back in. But I never got charged and we didn't get deported, so that was cool.
Did you truly feel like you had experienced too much metal?
Well, there's never too much metal.
Never.
Yeah.
Death to Albin metal.
I
right.
would like all of you to just take note to what Patrick has done to the couch.
Yep. This is the next evolution in our couch. It's like it's exiting itself. It's having that kind of thing happening.
So the pleather's shedding.
Yeah.
The cotton's coming out.
It's
Dude.
erecting. It's erecting. Yeah, the final form. We're just gonna be sitting on this giant cloud after.
Now
It's
he's
like-
diddling it. Now he's fucking diddling it.
Yeah. Come on, man.
Let's get a zoom in on that.
It's getting kind of suggestive right there.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Can't stop looking at it. You're gonna have to rip it off, or shove it back in.
Don't talk like that, dude.
Shove
My
it back
mom's
in,
watching
dude.
this.
Fuck. Well, I have a little
Yeah?
thing planned.
What is it, dude?
And I hope we can take a walk down to memory lane.
Walk down.
I see what you did
good
there.
joke.
I see what you did there.
I have a few photos here, and I'd like you to take a look. And if you can,
Other window.
Okay.
just maybe tell us a little story, what you remember about him.
Oh, wow. I mean, what's there to say, really?
That's true.
Just found a sword.
Derek
pretended it
standing
was
with
my dick.
a sword erecting out of his crotch.
Pants. The glory days.
The Jägermeister
denim jacket, that's
t-shirt
awesome.
Penis
in the
envy,
background.
I guess.
Oh wait, that's not a Jägermeister t-shirt. That's
That was an Arise t-shirt.
Arise
but
Ruin.
we
Yeah,
had a
it
Jagger
is, yeah.
endorsement, so we were kind of allowed to rip them off, I think.
Oh, okay. You think?
Yeah, get a zoom in
We
on
haven't been to
that.
court yet, so
That guy is grinning really hard. He's
he's
loving
having
it.
a laugh, man.
Where the hell are you?
Yeah.
We are in Langley, British Columbia.
Nice.
In
Look
a
at that.
garage?
In somebody's tool shed.
Yeah, well, our singer Ryan Bachman, we would stay with his dad out there sometimes. Yeah, so that's where we were
Nice.
having a time, apparently.
Oh, there's somebody's head coming out right behind.
Oh
Right
shit!
behind
I didn't
us.
even see that guy.
Yeah. His head just pops out. I didn't even know what that was.
Do you know
Nice,
him,
though.
Derek?
He was a friend, just a friend of.
Oh,
think
okay. So
Ryan's
he's
younger
not
brother.
a parasitic twin. You didn't have
No.
a growth removed from your shoulder.
No, not that I'm aware of. Although I do fall asleep and do things. Maybe I had some surgery one night. I don't know. But
In proportion, it just looks like a really small head.
Yeah, it does. Yo, Derek, put that.
He's like,
put,
"Don't- yeah,
put
don't
that
put-
dagger in your dick.
But
Okay.
he doesn't say it. He just thinks it. So that look is you hearing his thought.
I like that it looks like your
yes.
hair is like blasting back too. It's a
Yeah,
lot of action going on.
I shaved it off, well, my beard after that, and yeah, I had a bit of a "my name is Earl" thing going for a while, but you know,
Nice.
I just really didn't want to pick up chicks. You know?
Well, it's not easy when you're trying to avoid chicks with that denim jacket.
Well, dude, I mean, it didn't always work, but I was trying not to pick up
I
chicks.
don't know. There's quite a few. Yeah, it's the sun.
All right, you want to head to the next one?
Oh yeah.
Oh,
So this is Vegas.
hanging out with a police
And-
officer.
Yeah. This is
Got a
Independence
beer in
Day
hand.
in Vegas, and that's my bass player in Arise, Ben Alexis. And we found a cop, and we were like, "Dude, can we get a picture?" And the guy's like, "Why?" We're like, "We're Canadian. We can't do this at home." He's like, "Hey, come on in." So we had our
That
Is that
face
a
kind of looks
Clamato?
like, why are we doing this?
Wait, you can't take photos with cops here?
well,
With
you
beer?
can't have beers on the street
Oh, that's
here,
true.
or whatever that
That's true.
is.
I neglected
some sort
to
of
notice that.
Clamato beverage.
A really
Imagine
tall
just he had a
Clamato.
beer also in hand. That was the twist.
That would be the Canadian cop.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah, he looks
slamming
pretty
some
relaxed.
brews.
He looks
Yeah.
like he takes a lot of photos.
Yeah,
Very
solid,
photogenic
solid
guy.
dude.
Yeah, very photogenic. I don't know. His smile kind of looks kind of nervous.
Well, like look at the freaks on either side of him. Right?
I think they're a couple of hunks.
Real
Thanks, man.
sweethearts.
Cheers.
All right, you want to roll to the next one, Adam? Oh,
This was the night. This was the hotel night.
I was kind of hoping it would be.
Spicy. Got
Yeah.
a PBR in hand.
Those are my nips.
Nice. Let's get a close in on those.
Yeah.
Yeah, could you zoom in on those nips, please?
Oh shit, he can.
Nice.
Oh no.
Yikes.
Wow.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Very,
yeah.
very, very proportioned areolas.
Yeah.
I was hoping you wouldn't
Thanks.
be too embarrassed
Thanks,
about
man.
this one.
For-
Well,
Because I saw it, I'm like, dude,
I'm about.
we all have a photo like this, and we make sure it's not out there.
See, I'm
But
about.
Derek made sure this one was out
I
there.
don't even know.
Well,
if
I don't know that I did, but I never stopped it. And I would say that I'm probably about 50 pounds heavier now. So if anything, I'm fucking proud of that picture.
Absolutely ripped. Adam, this is quite the view you're giving us. Don't clip it.
Oh, no.
Don't clip that. I was not.
fucking
I
clipping
was not
it.
suckling at the teat.
That is
So
the
do,
best.
do
Do
you
what
think
you gotta
this
do,
is-
man. It's 2019.
Do you think this was before or after you had been tossed?
Oh, that would have
Tossed by the
been
cop.
before, for
Okay,
sure.
okay.
Because the other guys,
that's
somebody
so
was
fucking funny.
awake to take that picture, I guess.
I can't wait
some
to clip
capacity.
that.
Dude, you look like you're on a fucking mission.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
All right.
Next one.
Next photo.
Ah,
I
yes.
spent too many years staring at my feet to not know where I stand. That's what the back of the
I
sweater
think
says.
Somebody's
that was,
whole
that was
ass.
a terror hoodie.
Somebody's whole ass just
And there's a
falling
red
out.
cord T-shirt
That's-
in the
yeah.
wild.
Yeah, that's my red cord T-shirt. But that was our tour manager, who, for reasons why you'll never know, we called him Bike Rack. If it was, it may be. Yeah, it's probably pretty obvious. But yeah, Mike Martins, he fucking hates that picture.
That's
got real
fucking
mad.
hilarious.
Yeah.
Holy
Like,
shit.
just got the chips in the bags of chips. Just a bag of chips.
I thought you meant in his ass crack for a second.
Is that chips?
Face the camera and say, "Here's Johnny."
Here's Johnny.
Yeah, all right.
Masterful direction.
I don't feel too good about that.
Next one. Let's keep it going.
Ah, the Alamo.
The Alamo.
So
Tell us about the Alamo.
Well, you know, we really like Pee Wee Herman, and so we went to the Alamo. Now, I figure, I don't know, we were down in Texas, and I mean, when you're right by the Alamo, how do you not go see it, right?
Sure.
But there were so many things that I wish we had gone to see on tour that you just don't have time. It's hurry up and wait, get to the venue, and
Like what? What's a couple things you would have wanted to check out but didn't get to
well,
go see?
we drove past. Oh, dude, so many. I mean, Washington D.C. comes to mind. Or I mean, I went there on a family trip when I was a kid, so I got to see a lot of it, but I didn't really appreciate a lot of it at the time.
You a big fan of bureaucracy?
No, I fucking don't like bureaucracy at all, but those monuments are pretty cool.
Sure, I agree. Those phallic monuments.
Yeah.
Look at that happy bunch.
We're pretty happy, man.
Yeah, man.
Happy and broke, and
Happy
sleeping in
broke.
Walmarts.
Fuck yeah.
Yes.
Yo, you guys had
So there's the front of bike rack beside Ben, second from the from my left.
Okay.
Okay.
I wonder if his ass is hanging out.
Probably, yeah.
I wonder if there's chips in it.
There is.
All right, do I have more photos in here? I can't remember.
Oh shit! This is a band called Don't Mind Dying playing at the Jimmy Jazz, and that's Greg from
Jam.
Horizon Wakeless. And I actually
Are missing a shoe.
I sprained my ankle, and I did. There's some crutches in behind there if you notice.
Oh, okay.
But we had to do the show, so I did the show, and I don't know. It probably sucked.
Then you sat down for a long time afterwards.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
Or I had a bunch of beers and walked on it.
True.
You know? One or the other.
Man, this one time I busted up my collarbone and had a bunch of beers.
Is that after you flipped over the car, or?
Or after you broke both of your arms.
It was after.
Oh, okay.
It was after. Had a bunch of beers, and after the beers had settled in, I was convinced that my bone was fixed. And I kept telling people that the beers healed my collarbone, and I proceeded to do a bunch of push-ups and woke up in a real bad way.
Dude, the decisions you make sometimes.
I specifically
I want to tell you to
remember-
not do that, but I totally would.
Oh,
you know?
dude, it
like,
was fucking rad.
Yeah.
Every pump, it was like, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's the sound of healing.
feel the burn.
Yeah, feel the burn in the cracks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, what else we got here?
Keep it going.
Oh, this one looked
alright.
exciting.
Tour with Farewell to Freeway, and maybe that's it. No, there's got to be another band in there. Fuck, I don't know, man. I don't remember. But we definitely toured with Farewell a bunch,
Okay.
and that would have been.
I see a lot of cargo shorts.
Yeah, well, as you do. That would have been New Brunswick, where we stayed with our friend Danielle and her folks.
Cool.
On a military base.
Oh,
and
that's
it
cool.
was
Right on.
super cool.
Whose bus is that? That's an interesting looking bus.
Oh man,
Not
That's a
yours.
not mine. No.
Was it like one of the bands, or was it just on the
Yeah,
property?
likely, but I can't. Well, it wasn't Farewell's either. So, whoever else is in that picture, and I'm Turbo Dick because I don't know, but
Turbo
their
Dick.
bus.
Nice.
Hey, let's get a photo in front of this bus so our moms are proud of us.
Yeah, look at the bus we're on now.
We made it.
Roll up in a fucking caravan.
Yeah. All right, let's keep it going.
Oh shit, this is high school,
Jeez.
and I don't know what to tell you, man.
That's all
Go
right.
down a bit
That
more.
foot looked tasty.
There it is.
Yeah, there it is.
There's the money.
Look at that chain. Look at
Yeah.
that fucking neck chain.
Yeah.
Sick.
You look like a member of NSYNC.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
What kind of jacket is that?
A nice
Is
one.
that Gucci?
No, but it's probably a Walmart. You know,
Probably a
maybe a
Walmart.
Target.
It's got that red, white, and green kind of thing.
Yeah, you know.
Yeah.
All right, what do we got? 2 more? 1 more?
Oh, thank God.
Oh, here's a book that you wrote.
Yeah, apparently. I did that sleeping too, I guess, because
Lucifer Exposed.
I
by
forgot half of
Derek
my last
Prince.
name too. So, way to go.
All right, so basically, I just wanted to take you down like a trip down memory lane, see if we could pull any funny stories out
Got
of
into
you.
my NSYNC new metal high school days, I guess.
The Limp Bizkit face.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
well.
it's good to see where you come from sometimes.
Yeah.
No, it's not, man.
Yeah, it's good to know the roots.
No,
Just
no,
luckily some
no,
of my,
no
just
roots.
Luckily my
Next
life
question.
is on the internet.
Well, we're going to talk about the roots some more. You guys want to do musical history?
Yes, let's do it. Musical
Yes,
history
give it
101.
to us.
So we what just came out of my mouth. Sometimes we like to do this little thing where we basically see your chronological path of what you were listening to when you were a little tiny shithead tyke, what you were listening to, the middle point of your life, I guess, like kind of like a turning point when you heard a band or an artist or something that really changed your perspective on music, and then kind of where you're at now.
Okay,
Sound fun?
dude, am I eating this mic? By the way,
No.
no, we're cool. All right, we're cool.
Yeah. What was the very first piece of music you attached yourself to?
Probably would have been a cassette tape by, oh man, fuck, by New Kids on the Block. All right,
Really? NKOTB?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
If I'm being honest.
Right stuff.
Good.
That's the right.
It
stuff.
was it's the right stuff, to be honest.
So did like when you kind of started listening to that, were you listening to it a lot, or was it just kind of like one of the first things that you kind of listened to, and then you listened to more things after that, and you kind of got past it?
I mean, I always kind of binged on music, but something like that, like a tape or a CD or anything like that, like I would binge on that as well. Like I just, this is a really dumb way of saying I take in a lot of music, like kind of all the time. Yeah, I've always been a bit of a music nerd. So
What age were you in that NKOTB
Oh,
tape
man.
hit when it dropped?
like, geez, it's like grade 1 maybe.
You're like 6.
Yeah,
think, yeah.
but I mean, for years before that, like my folks they were radio junkies, and so they always listened to
cool.
the radio, and they also bought a lot of music from stores too. So they were always feeding me anything from like classical music to, whatever was on the radio, which in the '80s was pretty awesome.
That's dope.
So were your
Yeah.
parents listening to mostly classical stuff, or were they kind of all over the place?
All
or-
over the place. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
What are some things that stuck out?
I mean, for me, Bach, Air on the G String is one of my favorite pieces of music ever.
That's from your parents?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. So when you, I guess with like the classical kind of thing, like, were you one of those kids like in school, like elementary school, that was like the kid that was into classical music, or were you also kind of all over the place?
You can't tell people
I was
that.
all. I mean, I think that's. Yeah, it's hard to gauge, I guess, when you're that age. But I think I was all over the place.
Yeah.
I liked obviously whatever was cool because all you want to do is fit in.
Right.
But also just everything my parents fed me. I didn't really have that filter to be like. I wasn't at that like I didn't ask to be born phase, So,
I hate you guys.
yeah, so I pretty much listened to everything like country, western, all of it, man.
That's
yeah.
dope.
Cool.
Yeah, I had a similar upbringing where my parents kind of had a really wide breadth of music that they listened to and tried to show to me. They didn't force me to listen to anything, but it was always kind of like open, organic, like, hey, if you want to check this out, go ahead. This tape's great. Something that I've always loved kind of deal.
That's
And
awesome. I like that.
I think it's really important to like where I've ended up with my musical taste, because I'll pretty much listen to anything. Like if it's good, I'll take it in, and
Yeah.
I don't give it any judgment. Like it's it's not weird.
I don't
Yeah.
understand those people that are like, fuck country or like, fuck EDM or whatever the case may be, right? Like,
Those people are sick. Just
well,
so they know.
They're just like,
It's
I
all
doubt
me.
any
in
of
a
those
bad
kinds
way,
of people
if
are
we
listening.
weren't clear, like you're sick, not
all
like
music.
sick,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
Right,
Right.
right.
So, I guess once you kind of, what point in your life did you start exploring music on your own, and maybe like sometime around high school is usually that time
Yeah,
people start getting into their own music that they like, and they kind of start discovering it. So, what were some bands that were kind of sticking out then? You started to get more angsty. Well,
I
you said
think,
you
yeah,
never, yeah.
the angsty age for sure. I think that's probably right. Except we went to school in grade 8. I grew up in Erin, Ontario. Well, a few different places, but ended up in Erin. And we went to school in grade 8 because our public school was too small. So that's probably when I started really kind of trying to find my own way. And just I don't know if it was Erin or a sign of the times, but just the culture there was very like fly your own flag. So it wasn't really cool to be like, well, whatever.
Listening to pop.
Yeah, or just to kind of be like a hipster, whatever
Okay.
that would have been back then, you
Okay.
know? Like, it was very cool in my school to go your own way. So it probably,
So you,
Metallica
what you're
was
saying
a
is
big
you
one.
all listen to really bad music.
Yeah, dude, Metallica, fucking horrible. I love Metallica,
Fuck yeah.
but that was probably the first band that really kind of blew my mind in terms of dynamics, and it wasn't all like metal all the time. They went into ballads and did all kinds of shit like that, which really kind of reminded me of the old classical music like coming up,
Okay.
right? So, yeah. Who else, dude? I got big time into like Marilyn Manson, and didn't really care for Nirvana until later. I was tardy to that party, but
I don't think you were tardy. I think a lot of people were pretty late to that party.
I think
as
it was
well.
just after hearing Metallica and like how dynamic and technical it could be. Now I say technical now, and like dudes would laugh at me, but in '86, not that I listened to it then, but listening to an album like Master of Puppets,
Dude, between like
was
Slayer
pretty-
and Metallica, like that shit was pretty fucking technical.
Yeah, or like Pantera
Yeah.
or something
Yeah.
like that. Yeah, like all of it was like pretty technical.
All that groove metal and thrash.
And then also just the 90s alt rock scene at the time, like stuff on the radio was awesome, man.
Yeah.
You know, like Smashing Pumpkins. You can't be a drummer that existed in the 90s and not like Jimmy Chamberlain, as far as I'm concerned. So kind of a healthy mix between the sort of gothy stuff and the metal stuff and some punk and some alt rock.
Were you doing that? Were you going to see all those kinds of bands live, or were you finding that you were going to like you were attaching yourself to a specific scene? Because you know what I mean. Like when you're kind of
Right.
getting into high school, you kind of like start to go towards like one clique or whatever. So did you find that the shows you were going to were kind of based around the same genre, or did you find yourself like going to the coffee shop, you know, going to the punk show?
I would go to like all the different shows.
Cool.
So I'm having a real hard time looking at you and talking to
No, it's
this
all good.
mic,
You
but
don't-
just know that in spirit I am looking at you, my friend.
You want me to slide the mic down?
No, I mean, if
you
you're
don't wanna
okay,
look
if
at
you
it?
don't think that's,
don't think
if you don't
that's-
think that's
I don't think
rude,
it's
then
weird.
I'm okay with
I'm
it.
used to
But
it, man. I'm used to it. Just go for it.
yeah, I don't know, dude. I tried to go to as many different shows as possible. I definitely looked like a skid, like a fucking skid nugget, dude. But but I was very open minded when it came to different genres, and I tried to go to as many concerts as I could because I was in Erin, fucking Ontario, and there's absolutely
Nothing to do.
to do. right?
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I mean, even living in fucking Kitchener, I feel like there's nothing to do.
Kitchener's just really
there's a
spread
decent-
out, though, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like-
that's true.
We have the Ion Rail now, which is great.
Yay.
have the what?
We have the Ion Rail now. The
Ion.
Ion Rail Transit.
We got our own train.
Yeah, it's sick. Have you guys gone to it yet? It
No.
opened up on Friday.
No.
Yeah.
You
Why don't
ride
you
it?
tell us
Yeah,
about your
it's free.
experience?
It's free until July 1st. Took my first trip there from literally one stop to one stop, which
Okay.
was and then it was pretty smooth.
I was walking around downtown,
Oh.
and there was a bunch of people who had like hopped on the Ion because it was free, not for like the purpose of getting anywhere. And I was crossing King Street, and there was a big group of, I would assume they were like Laurier or Waterloo students, kind of standing on a corner, and they're all staring at their phones. They're going, "Do you see any tracks around here? Any of you guys see any tracks? Oh fuck, I think we're lost." They're just trying to
Oh
find
my
tracks so they
God.
can hop back on the free train and head back to the known land of Waterloo.
Jeez.
You guys see any tracks?
They had their stick with the bag
Oh,
at the
buses
end of
are free
it.
too.
Why are the buses free?
I think it's Canada Day.
Everything is
Special.
free.
Oh, I thought it was all just for the Ion.
I thought it
launch.
was for the Ion.
Yeah.
too.
I thought it was for the Ion.
Well.
Yeah.
Promotion for the
Oh,
Ion.
cool. Okay.
You know what
I'll
else you guys have in Kitchener, which I drove by on the way here?
What is it?
Have you ever heard of Jimmy's Lunch?
Yes, I live like right
Jimmy's
behind Jimmy's
Is
Lunch.
it good?
actually.
Like, I gotta check this
So
out.
I've never went
Jimmy's
in.
Lunch.
It's like a Pepsi sign and just
Yeah,
like regular
I've
letter,
never went
Jimmy's
in,
Lunch.
but I've had at least 100 people vouch for Jimmy's Lunch to tell me that it's one of the most fantastic spots to hit for like breakfast or like brunch.
Really
Um,
Jimmy's Lunch.
Jimmy's
It's-
Lunch. I'm surprised they
apparently
do
it's-
breakfast. Hey, you guys do breakfast? Get the fuck out of here! Hey, yo, Jimmy.
Well, apparently it's been around for ages. I think since like the 50s or 60s.
Really?
It was owned by a father. It's now been passed down to a son, as far as I understand.
I
And it's
hope
just
the
like
son's name is
it's kind
Jimmy.
of like Harmony. It's just like this fucking greasy spoon diner that just never died off.
What's the other one in town? Sonny's.
Sonny's, yeah.
Sonny's.
Yeah, if you hit up Jimbo's Lunch, let me.
Oh,
let me
Jimbo.
know.
Yeah. Sounds like
I
you
just
know.
wanted to walk in there and go, hey, yo, Jimmy.
So did you just?
How was your lunch?
You just drove past it and you're like, hey.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I was
hey,
like,
Jimmy.
hey,
I'm driving here.
Hey, I'm driving here. You
Walking.
distracted my. What's this fucking Jimmy's Lunch? Get the fuck out of here.
Jimmy. And so it begins.
Oh, here,
here
we
we
go.
Yeah.
You want to tell the people what you're hearing, Derek?
Absolutely nothing. So we're in a professional studio.
Well, so much. So far, what am I hearing? Some sick melody going on. Super introspective.
Real
Makes me think
atmospheric?
about my life.
What aspect specifically? Childhood?
Yes. Birth,
All-
possibly?
All my hopes and fears.
I feel like that
Hopes
voice.
and fears. That's a weird thing to
Things
lump
that
together.
make me cry.
What makes you cry?
I feel like hearing Derek
What
say
makes
these
you
words
cry?
and this guitar is going to be the last things I hear before I die. No matter. Just be going through the tunnel, just
Holy
all
shit.
my hopes.
Single tear. It's a
fears.
single tear riff, man.
Yeah.
Okay, so fuck Kitchener, fuck Waterloo.
What?
What's going on in Guelph? Like, what's the scene like out
Oh man. Well, no, I wouldn't fuck those places per se. They're nice places. But
Yeah.
For the time being, let's pretend they don't exist. I want to hear about
just to
Guelph.
be affable, I'll go along with it. Guelph. I mean, Guelph's always kind of been trucking along. Like it's a good scene. It's and I mentioned earlier how Kitchener's kind of spread out, where Guelph is sort of a centralized hub, and so I feel like that's a lot more conducive to having a sort of a unified scene.
Sure.
I guess. But yeah, it's very eclectic. It's always been that way, and it's still trucking, man.
As the city is kind of seeing a revitalization over the past couple of years, like at least with the downtown core, is the art scene kind of like keeping pace with that, or is it just doing its same old kind of thing? Like if I went to Guelph 8-9 years ago, there was like dozens of fucking just abandoned shops and shit all downtown. It wasn't like the most pleasant place to hang out, but I went a couple months ago and I'm like, oh, it's kind of happening here. Like things are sprouting up. It's getting pretty cool.
Yeah, they've put a lot of work into it. But I feel like the scene's always kind of outlived that economic downturn, and I don't know how much of a downturn it really was, but I can imagine if you're not from there and you're driving through,
right, yeah.
I
As
see what
from an
you're
outside
saying.
perspective, just driving through, I'm like, oh, a lot of this shit's closed down. I wonder what the fuck happened. And
It's fucking Night of the Living Dead.
yeah, a little bit. It was kind of strange.
No, I mean, the scene's always been pretty cool. I'm not as a part of it as I used to be. I mean, which is one reason I do the show, to try and sort of support it from home.
Yeah, for sure.
Because I just can't get to every show like I used to. So I might not be the best person to ask that to, but I think it's doing fine.
Cool.
Yeah.
I think we're kind of in this. Well, at least I'm in the same boat as you. Is like with the amount that I have to fucking work and the times I have to get up in the morning. It's just not conducive to going out to like some of the shows that are happening around here. Like I can hit like a Friday night occasionally, or a Saturday, or a Sunday, or whatever. But any of the shows that are happening during the week are pretty much moot for me. It's kind of depressing, but it's nice to be able to do the show and kind of
Bring the community to you.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I'm lazy.
Support the community on your terms, right? Yeah, I don't know. I mean, like, I'm glad that you guys do this show. First of all, I fucking love the show.
Thanks, man.
And
Thanks, dude.
Thank you for having me. I don't think I've thanked you yet, which is really rude.
Keep doing it.
But
Yeah, keep thanking us. We like that.
no, man, I do think that you guys contribute to, and I don't know the KW scene like you guys do, but I mean, this is definitely a contribution to the scene. It has to be.
Yeah, I like to think so, at least.
Yeah, I hope so.
We have one person every 6 months tell us we're doing something neat.
It's weird thinking that you are, though,
Doing better than
because
me, man.
It's
Jesus.
contained in your room, right? So
Yeah.
the fact that it's contained in your room makes you not realize like how far it's reaching, like outside
Right. Well,
of this
yeah.
room.
Between the 3 or 4 of us, like it's kind of like an echo chamber, right? Like we finish an episode and with our guest, we're like, hell yeah, that was fucking awesome. We had a good time, but we really have no idea like how well it's doing. We see some numbers, but I don't know. We don't always like get feedback back from people. Is that something that you see? Like, do you
Dude,
have people
I
reach out to you?
started begging. Like, not begging, but I did start sort of a thing where I want to read emails.
Hell yeah! Oh,
on
I
the
sent you an
show.
email, by the way.
Oh shit! Really?
Yeah, it was about your previous episode with Patrick and Ian. You guys were talking about those bit tracks or whatever, like those
Oh,
stupid
shit,
little
yeah.
cassettes.
Oh, hit clips.
Hit clips.
Yeah,
Yeah,
hit clips.
I just sent a picture of the hit clips.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
nice.
Yeah, which was insane. I have never seen one of those before.
They're ridiculous, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a small blip in our like upbringing of like all those, cool kind of semi-innovative like childhood toys. Where
Adam's gonna bring up a photo here.
Here we go.
Yeah. So basically, you load this like little cartridge that has like a really shitty quality 15-second version of like a song that's like the chorus of like "Oops, I Did It Again" or whatever, Britney Spears.
And like people bought this.
Oh yeah, people bought it. Yeah,
they
people
were
ate it
huge.
up.
So if you went to school and you had like 15 seconds of "Oops, I Did It Again," people would be like, "Whoa!"
I feel like it was like a
and
small
pe-
clip
And
of it.
because
I don't
I
think
had
it was
my
a whole
Walkman,
song.
people would slap it out of my hands. They're like, no,
Really?
get on the hip clip,
What
the
the
the,
fuck?
the blip clip. What is it called? The shit
There
clip.
was also there
Look
was
at
also
that, look at that font.
there was also
That's sick.
yak. That reminds me of yak backs.
Yeah, those
Remember
are
yak
Yak
backs?
backs, I do remember.
What is a
talk
yak
about this
back?
already?
Do you talk into it and then
Yeah,
it does a weird voice back?
Did it not have a pulley? No.
Yeah, right there.
Oh,
Are we
think
talking
that's
about a
the
bomb
bit.
it?
I'm thinking way back in the day. All right. No, this was the yak back.
It's like a diesel powered yak man. What is this
All right,
thing?
get
I
your yak and
recognize
talk.
this.
Got 5 minutes of fucking
Yaks backs
diesel.
at ya.
Yeah, you basically record something and it just says it back to you, and you can do like alien voice, which is like
I feel like the
deeper
last
and-
couple
or
years
higher.
where it was like okay for me to play with action figures and not just have them on a shelf at my house, I would like always see these things in like the bottoms of people's like toy boxes and shit.
Yak
When I was
bags?
like, yeah, when I was
do-
like 9 or
okay.
10.
A couple years
Yeah,
ago.
I do remember that.
Yeah, like a week ago.
Yeah,
Me and Adam were chilling.
yeah.
Weird.
Yeah.
Hey, anybody thirsty? Or
I'm okay. I got my 2 liter of water over here.
How many beers are left?
Yeah. Derek's been so kind enough to supply us all with some
Oh,
with some beers. Brought to you by Wellington,
Send them around.
which is a very
you.
lovely sponsor of Derek's show, the Wok Show.
You don't want another beer?
Yeah.
Hey,
There's Adam's arm.
There's Adam.
Look at that
Hey,
lovely
Adam.
arm. Bring that arm. Yeah, look at that.
Hi, Adam.
Wow, what an arm!
Yeah, look at that. Wow, Adam.
Just that away.
Yeah. Whoa, Adam, which way's the podcast? Well, now that we've got some crispy boys.
We'll get
on
refreshed.
the
Yeah, we got
couch.
some crispy boys being
Yeah,
cracked up
compliments
here.
of Wellington Brewery.
Hey,
who are
Wellington,
kind
thank
enough to sponsor my show.
Yeah. There we go.
Yeah, show
Alan's
that
bringing
can
it
off.
in.
Show that can
You're
off.
spilling it, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've already had an accident.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he's making it more refreshing. Actually, I watched a video the other day.
Yeah, you did.
I watched a video the other day of how marketing companies record like beer commercials and like Coca-Cola commercials where like the glass bottle's getting like poured into the glass, and the glass is on like this ridiculous robot arm that's just sloshing back and forth, and they're just firing like beer and cola into it, and then they just put it into slow motion and it looks super refreshing. But when you watch it like zoomed out, it looks so fucking ridiculous.
Can we pull up a video of that?
Yeah,
what do you
Adam,
say?
I don't know what you would search up to find that, but
Was like making of Coca-Cola commercial or something? Making of
Ye-
slow-mo Coca-Cola glass shake.
it's a lot of keywords,
that's,
dude.
I'm trying.
Oh, yeah, slow motion beer commercial.
Yeah.
There it is. Maybe.
I don't know if that's it, dude.
No, it's probably just gonna be a slow pour.
Yeah, that's probably. Yeah, I'll go with that.
Video goats.
Deconstructed burger.
I think I just saw it on like Reddit or something like that.
Reddit.
Oh my
Reddit will be our
god.
savior.
Oh, this riff is sick.
Here,
Yeah. Thanks, I wrote it.
Oh, cool. You're stealing your riffs.
we sold it to
Dude.
him.
Yeah.
This was supposed to be the next Danger Liker track, man.
Had to give it away.
That's all right, Adam. I don't think we'll be able to find it.
Yeah, you keep on searching, maybe.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, look
Oh,
at that.
cool. Look at that steamy
Twice
potato.
baked.
Wow.
Wow.
That's a baked
I'm
potato.
not really a sour cream
looks
dude, but
so
I would
delicious.
eat that.
You're not a
Yeah.
sour cream dude?
Nah.
What's wrong with it?
Yeah.
You tell us, dude.
What? Just it makes my butt do some weird things.
That is true.
It's,
Oh, are you?
But what do you
intolerant?
choose
Yeah.
to
Okay,
not
I think
put
we talked
sour
about that
cream
before.
on?
I don't really put it on anything because it's the one thing that I.
But if you would eat it on a baked potato,
I like the twice
Oh.
baked. Yeah, where it's kind of baked in.
yeah.
That's awesome.
Okay. It's like a reduced
But I
sour
wouldn't
cream.
put like a dollop of sour cream on something.
Okay,
you know?
okay.
Like that's.
Well,
kinda
then you're gonna
fucked up
love
to
this
me.
story.
you
My
see them
brother
pour
used
more-
to just take like taco shells and just coat them in sour cream and just eat that.
It's fucked up, man.
Wait, what would your brother do?
He would just take a soft shell taco, coat it in sour cream, and just eat it.
With nothing else inside.
Nothing.
Alan has
Some
some
fucked up, repugnant shit.
that
Yeah, I
makes
think
me-
they call
that
that the
makes me pretty
Spanish
sick.
enema.
Remember with the hot dogs? Yeah,
What
Alan,
happened?
Alan Alan used to take raw hot dogs and dip them in ketchup and eat them.
You sick.
And now he's a
fuck.
vegetarian.
Alan, dude.
No wonder.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, I would be
traumatizing.
too.
You scarred
I
yourself.
would do it. Man.
Do you guys remember?
Like a nice beef, like tenderized anything. It was just like those.
Yeah, it was just a straight up hot dog, just a nasty.
Red Hots?
Kids are sick. Just
Yeah.
like people who don't like certain genres of music.
Yeah.
Sick
Yeah.
bastards, dude.
We're keeping a tally.
How do you not like?
So far, two types of people are sick. How many more?
What other
Find
kind of
out.
Yeah, let's
sickos
keep
do you
going.
know?
What's that?
What other kind of sickos do you know?
People who sleep with their socks on?
I do
Yeah,
that.
that's
True.
uh,
My
I do that in the
girlfriend
winter.
does that.
I never mean to.
Sick. Yeah, if you forget, that's one thing.
Right.
If you intentionally say, "Oh, my feet are cold. I'm gonna wear my socks on and wear in bed," it's like they are not going to
Is
stay
that how you
cold.
say that?
Yeah, there's a
I'm gonna wear my
caveat in the
socks
sickness.
on.
If you
I'm
don't
gonna,
mean
I'm
to,
gonna put my socks on. Jeez.
I'm just wearing.
yeah,
my
they're
socks
not
on.
we're them before they go to bed. They're just gonna,
Oh my
just gonna pop 'em
god!
on.
They have bed
That is
socks. They have- yeah, they're my foot. They're my night foot caps.
I wanna
Go
hear-
to a fucking
Got bed
doctor
socks.
immediately.
I want to hear the kind of music those people are writing.
The kind of people who
Shoegaze.
wear bed socks or foot caps. They're only for the top halves of their feet. They cut the socks off and they just
Holy.
slip them on here.
You know what else is
Wanna
sick,
show those
Derek?
too much.
What's that?
Aunt Diane.
Oh no, we're talking about Aunt Diane, are we?
Tell us about Aunt Diane.
Lay it on us.
Oh man, wow.
I
Where
watched
to
this
begin?
because of you.
Did you watch
I
it?
watched it as part of my research, and my girlfriend was like,
Ah.
"So you're watching porno now as part of your research?"
Yeah, so this guy's not coming to your show. He's banned. He's banned. So okay. It's gonna be that kind of party. Aunt
I
Diane.
have a quote here if you want me to break the ice.
Yeah. Well, yeah. You break the ice.
All right, so apparently, at some point, Derek and a band, which band, used to watch this porno, Aunt Diane.
Oh, it was a tour thing. Like we
All
showed
right, let's
everyone
pull
'cause
it
we
up.
thought it was hilarious.
Yeah, it is fucking hilarious. It's also repulsive.
Well, it's incest porn. I mean, let's just call it what it is. So
Aunt
I don't
Diane.
know who found. I'm gonna say Bachman.
Never mind.
What were you gonna say?
I think Bachman discovered it, and yeah, he showed it to us. We thought it was fucking hilarious. It's just like straight up 70s. First of all, 70s porn.
Yep. It's all
Add in-
hazy, like a soap opera.
Yeah, like
That line
there's
keeps
supposed to
going
be a
through.
You really
plot.
analyzed it, huh?
Of course.
Yeah. And then add in the fact that it's incest 70s porn, and Bob's your uncle. I don't know what's not to love.
It
I
had
mean,
the
it's-
stereotypical like slapping bass line going
Yeah.
along to it.
That's
and
not
then
what
the
was
clown,
slapping,
the
dude.
clown in the corner. That
Yes,
they keep showing
that I
for no
fucking
reason.
lost it.
Guy was amazing.
Did you
Okay.
watch the whole video?
I skimmed through it for like any hilarious quotes or like weird like things I could
Lay-
screen cap. I
lay a
couldn't
quote on
screen
us.
cap anything.
So it's one of those really ridiculous things that you watch because you're bored as fuck on tour and you want to laugh at something.
Oh, I totally got
And
it.
then
I was cracking up.
You spin it out of context. So we decided that Aunt Diane, because, So have you ever played a gig out of town or toured or whatever, and you're just looking at people and you're making up voices for them?
I just do that every day.
Fair
I don't
enough.
have to
So
be out
just
of town.
people watching with a little bit extra
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
involved, right? So we were in some northern rural Ontario buttfuck town, and there was this old overweight lady in a kiddie pool smoking a cigarette. And we decided that her voice sounded like this.
It's funny because you guys call this voice the Aunt Diane.
Yes,
But
so-
I have a similar voice that I call the Janet.
Okay? So we just merged the two, and there was no real reason. So Aunt Diane, I mean, if you watch it, it's like, you're getting your cock sucked, kid, you know?
Yeah, that was the one line that I pulled out because the little
Is
nephew.
this the video that might come up? That you were
Oh
talking
no!
about? Okay,
We can't play that shit, dude.
Okay.
Well, we could.
No, but the quote unquote nephew is waking up and he goes, Aunt Diane, what's happening? And Aunt Diane's friend just looks him dead in the eye and goes, you're getting your cock sucked, kid.
You're getting your cock sucked, kid, and then we turn that into the pool lady with the cigarette. You know, you're getting your cock sucked, kiddo. And for some reason, it's just funny, you know?
Oh yeah, I'm right there with you. I was
Yeah.
fucking cracking up. There's so many weird things about that video. I was transported into the minds of a touring band. Just
But have you
watching this.
seen cake farts?
Yes. You know what I like the best?
Cake farts?
Yeah, I've
Cake
seen it.
farts.
Cake farts.
I just gotta circle back to Aunt Diane because I did not expect this to come up. But I think maybe the other amazing quote is when he's trying to convince her to do it, and then she just goes, "Oh well, might as well keep it
Yeah,
in
keep
the
it
family."
in the family. Yeah,
Oh
man, that
my
video is sick.
God.
So like, I didn't know if it was something that I'd be able to find, but I knew if I did, it would be funny as shit to bring it up. And I had to Google for like a while, and I ended up on like this strange like vintage porno website that looks like it was built in like 1998, where it's like that like black background with like
yellow
highlighter
font.
green
Yeah.
text on top of it, and I'm just like, I've strayed into a strange corner of the internet
It's
tonight.
like a free
Yeah, the FBI is
website.
definitely after you, man. That's
Man.
Yeah, sick fucking video.
Wait, so there's another subset of people that are actually sick.
Yeah, there's quite a few of them.
Yeah,
Number
so there's
3.
3. We've
I'm sure
come
we'll
to-
uncover more. We're like
Okay.
archaeologists of the sick fucks around the world.
Of Rule 34. Well, I think you didn't really say where you're at now with like your musical interest, because you kind of said it was, you were listening to Metallica, some Marilyn Manson and stuff like that.
I thought you were gonna say porn. I don't know where you're at.
I've
with
been
your
mostly
porn
listening to
these
porn
days.
soundtracks.
Yeah. Tell us about Anti-Ann the soundtrack. No. Now, where are you at now? Like, are you like listening to anything specifically? Any new artists you've come across or anything like that?
Well, I always try to keep an ear to the ground, but it's I don't know. The older I get, the harder I find that is.
I'm so scared of that.
Yeah, it kind of
Like,
sucks.
what do you mean? Like, trying to
Keep up with everything,
Oh,
right?
just-
Yeah.
And now that like music is becoming so easy to like consume through like Spotify or YouTube or SoundCloud or whatever, there's so much that I have to take in, and I end up missing like bits and pieces here, and I feel like it's just snowballing slowly, where I'm gonna get to the point where I just kind of get fed up and go like, I can't keep up. There's too much.
Yeah, I hear you, man. I mean, I think the last great new record that I got was the new Nick Johnston album, I think.
that came out only a few months ago, maybe
Yeah.
like a couple months ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
I also was really late to the party with Animals as Leaders. Like, I didn't really like the production on any of their earlier albums, but the latest one, I loved.
What was it about the production?
Live mic drums.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they just let him go, and that was it.
Yeah. They got a super tight drummer now, Matt
Yeah.
Garska. That
Oh,
guy
it's
is a
amazing.
machine.
Shout out
Like,
to Matt Garska.
And I think I don't know, that's all it took for me. Like, I'm kind of fussy, and I also remember, like, and I'm dating myself here, but like, I mean, I lived to see the rise and fall of nu metal as well as metalcore. But the thing with metalcore is I remember the first time I heard Killswitch Engage Alive or Just Breathing, and thinking like, yeah, these tunes are cool, but like, what the fuck is going on with this production?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Why does this snare drum sound like a fucking rocket ship? Like, and
oh, that Grand Canyon snare. It was like,
And like, why does it sound like a fucking Whitesnake album, in terms of samples? And why does this producer just hate drums so much? And then it turned into an epidemic. Like, it's
It was a strange time, I feel like, where you probably had a lot of people transitioning over from like the poppier genres of like the late 90s, early 2000s into like progressive rock and nu metal and shit like that, and trying to take the sensibilities from what they were working on before and bring them over. And I feel like that's probably why you had strange things like that happen.
and I think also it was the software. The software
that's
really
true.
started getting more advanced. Like, you weren't able, when Superior Drummer 2, that software that you can hear all over that Animals as Leaders album and the Periphery album and all those kind of breakthrough albums for that style of music, the drum software just got good enough where you could like really use it, and you could get away with it sounding like listenable on an album. Like, obviously to someone who's like been involved in
Trained.
recording, like they can tell, but to like the listener, it was like, oh hey, now I can finally release my music. I don't need this like I don't have access to a professional studio, so now I
Yeah,
can use
yeah.
it. So it kind of like gave them that opportunity to kind of have the final puzzle, because when you hear a good heavy like album that hits hard, it does come down to like some good well recorded drums. And if they don't even have a drummer at the time, then they're like, well, I guess I can't have a project. But they're like, nah, I gotta use that. So it's like, use what you have, but at the same time, yeah, like when you just heard the same drum software used on every album, that's when it started to get a little bit like,
it was
all
the
right,
same
like,
software and the same
Yeah.
sample band.
yeah, you heard the same like
it
cymbals
was-
in the same room, and it's
Right.
like, oh,
Totally, man.
yeah.
Like, and I mean, I'm not even hating on it. Like, I do program drums.
Yeah.
A lot for the show. I mean, I programmed all the drums on the first Arise album too, just
Cool.
because that's kind of what the label wanted, or at least so we thought. So I'm not hating on that at all. I just, to me, you should try to, I don't know, just try to at
Make it
least
sound
try to make
fucking
it sound
original.
like a drum kit. Just make it-
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
know.
Use what you can, because yeah.
Like, live drums if they're tuned up and they're mic'd up nicely, like they sound
Yeah.
beautiful.
Yeah,
Like,
just
why
go
would you want
for
to
it.
fuck with that?
Yeah.
Like, if you had the option, you know.
Yeah, exactly. If you have the option, if you have access to like those tools, is like learn to use them. Don't just say, oh well, I have this thing, and it's gonna make it sound good. Like as a one-trick pony, I might as well use it. It's good if you're writing and stuff like that, but
Oh, it's great. Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. It's kind of a weird world that. The world of production, how it's kind of transitioning, or even like things like analog gear, like all the rack units and stuff are now being modeled, and people can't tell the difference in a blind test and all that kind of
Yeah.
stuff, and
Which is cool. I mean,
yeah,
I'm definitely the odd guy out. Like, it's just my taste. I'd much rather hear a
Yeah.
smaller mix.
I
you
feel
know?
you.
Yeah,
I don't need the
definitely.
drums to be like the biggest kit I've ever heard in my entire life.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
go like 360 through my brain. You know, well, I don't know. I just
Yeah.
don't care. To me, that's not just not musical. I don't know.
Yeah.
No, I feel you, and I think it's kind of odd for us to talk about it because we're always surrounded by people who do notice these kinds of things, and I sometimes have to take a step back and realize that we're in the minority of people who notice that. The general population, it doesn't even click for them. It's not something that comes up. Like,
Well, it's like Ian said, right? Like people can't tell the difference on a blind test,
True.
and I think that's amazing. That's a step in the right direction, really. Well, in terms of technology, right? But
Definitely.
I don't know.
I think if people have a lot of, it's almost like they have too much access to like all the tools, and then people just kind of get that shiny object syndrome where they're like, oh, this is the new software, so I got to get it, and then they just keep hopping onto the next one, and it's like, well, you
Gearheads.
learn how to use the tools that you have and that you
That's
started
it,
out
dude.
with, then get good at those, and then you can move on. And if you want to use like some samples to like reinforce your drums and make them sound a little bit more bigger because the room you had wasn't like reverberant enough, then yeah, sure, go for that. But
Right.
yeah,
But I think that's what it is, though. Is that like, I mean, now there are plugins that, pardon me, Wellington burp. There are plugins that will take your feed. Yeah, trademark Wok Show 2007. I don't know. You guys can use it.
thanks, dude.
I don't know. There's
appreciate that.
there's these plugins that will just use algorithms to sort of sort out your shit. You know what I mean?
yeah.
But I mean, my fear is that people will just not care to learn how to use a compressor. They'll just dump it in
True.
this algorithm that will just do it for them. And I don't really know. Like, I guess that shouldn't really bother me,
Yeah.
but it just does, man.
I feel kind
don't
of weird
know.
about it too. Ian and I were talking about this a few months ago when he was asking if I had seen some of these services where you dump in your stems or whatever, and it kind of masters it out for
Yeah,
you
online
in
mastering
approximation.
services like Lander and Deezer and there's one other big one, but yeah.
And I mean, I'm sort of on board for it, but at the same time, sort of not. Like, I mean, if you have no other means, like, of course,
It works
like,
for
go
specific
it.
genres really well.
Yeah.
Like
Like
if
what?
you you have to, I think, enter certain things like like the tempo and stuff like that, so it basically can like adjust its like EQ and everything like towards like certain aspects of the song, because
So
like
there is still tailoring done on your end.
I
It's
think
just,
so. Like I
like
feel like
Squarespace for mastering.
because when I saw there was this video, I forget who it was, but someone was showing like they put some music through it, and like one was like an EDM song, one was like a hip hop, and then one was like a rock song or something, and the ones that were more like crystal clear in their production, so like the stuff that was using samples, was a lot easier to master because those are already pre-mastered samples. So there's just light touches that have to be done.
Right.
Whereas like more organic recorded instruments, like things that are recorded in a room and
Like live off the floor.
yeah,
like, whole
exactly.
band
Like those
together
were
kinda
those are
thing.
where things kind of like were a little bit uneven and things were
Okay.
jumping out a
I
little bit
see.
more that shouldn't have and all that kind of stuff. So.
Interesting.
But as an audio engineer, do you not have more fun just kind of like fucking with the like just?
I
just the
personally
process in
do.
general?
I personally do. But I think I just kind of learning production. I kind of learned it and grew up with production in a way that in a weird time where like editing was like kind of not the norm, but it was like, hey, start doing this because a lot of people are going to start doing this kind of thing. And then I was like, okay, getting into like the tedious process of like going in and editing. So at that, when you kind of start doing that, you're like, oh, that's now what I have to budget my time into the mixing process. So if these things can kind of just, I don't have to worry about them sounding so good, but these things I want to work out like a guitar tone or something, those things are more or less what I want to tinker with. Whereas, some things I kind of just want it to sound good, like right off the bat, or I don't have to screw around with it much because I just don't want to. and B, it's like because I just have other things to like worry about.
It's
in
kind
terms
of
of
like
the whole
time's
mixing
probably
process.
a factor too, right? Like,
Yeah.
if you have a client that needs to get their shit out the door, or
Yeah.
to even just producing Danger Like, or like you need to get it done by a certain day. Or...
Yeah, just and it's just finding out what works. Like at the end of the day, it's just if it works and it just sounds good and people like are it's well received, then that's kind of like how I measure like what I should and shouldn't use.
True.
Especially like with like us playing metal, and it's such like I don't want to say it's like over processed, but there's definitely like a lot of things going into the production now than it was than before. So I'm trying to see what I can basically get away with, and then if it's like I don't want to, but I try to work on it a little bit before I actually put it on music that's going to be released, because I don't want it to sound amateur. Then people are like, oh, I really noticed that one thing, but so far it's like kind of like when you're playing live, and it's probably before you played your first show, you were always thinking, oh, what if I mess up? And then once you kind of do, you're like, nobody notices, and then when you're mixing, you're like, oh, but this one
Except for
certain
Evan.
cymbal hit was like this, and it's like nobody cares.
Except for your drummer.
Nobody cares. Yeah. Well,
It's when I do an edit and my air conditioner clicks on, man. It's
Yeah.
you're always gonna hear it as the creator, I guess, or
I'm
or
gonna
as the
like
engineer,
listen
but-
so deep for this now because
Dude.
I've never your new mics, by the way, sound fucking fantastic.
they look
Thank
pretty
you, but
too.
I think I should have got one of these, or like an electro voice, the other dynamic mic.
I don't know. The Sennheisers are.
They're,
really nice.
I love them.
Yeah.
They're a fantastic quality mic. I'm just not quite sure condenser mics were the way to go.
If there's a lot of
Just picks up
noise
too
going
much
on,
room
in
noise?
Yeah.
yeah. So like if you like with your mic, you're probably catching most of like the fan that's blaring the hot air in this room.
And once you compress that signal, it's gonna be like, or I mean,
Yeah.
with the condenser, it would be crazy, right? But
Yeah, I'll figure
yeah,
it out though.
and honestly, like, it's not like I'll have no use for those mics, even if I were to go get some really nice dynamics.
Yeah, for sure.
It's the learning curve, and because I don't have any training, other than just having had worked with a few producers, it's live and learn, and sometimes that means spending stupid money, right?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, if I didn't have fucking Ian and Patrick here, I'd be totally lost on like the hardware side. I mean, I can sort of like piece things together here and there just through like experience over the years, but like these guys helped expedite the process like crazy.
Well, in the first initial process of getting this whole podcast figured out, I think we were all kind of like, yeah, sure, like some of us had the equipment and stuff, but I mean, when it came down to the technical aspect, like figuring out the video in sync with the audio and the drivers and all those technical issues about setting it up, like I think we were all kind of like on the same level. If not, you
Yeah,
had
that's
more
true.
of an advantage
Yeah, I
with
think you knew
streaming.
more.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because
I
you had
guess.
some streaming experience, so I think that was where, it kind of, you helped the initial process, like, kick in, and then it was like when all the little things like the audio and the little air started happening, that's when it was that's when it kind of all kind of completed, and now we're
Great minds think alike.
just having to edit out bands playing next door to
Yeah.
us.
now you're just in your
That's a
jam
new
spot.
problem.
Yeah.
Your biggest problem is a guy covering Garth Brooks next door.
True.
That's good
that
problems
what-
to
is that what
have,
it
man.
is?
Oh yeah.
Okay, I
Oh,
personally
yeah.
don't know.
Yee-hoo!
So as you encounter things like issues with the podcast, do you find yourself like immediately jumping on them and wanting to fix them, or is it kind of like
Yes, except that, again, because I'm dumb and sort of self-taught, I want to understand the process. I want to know why that doesn't
Right,
sound
yeah.
good, instead of just going, oh, buy this new plugin, it'll solve all your problems,
yeah,
you know?
I feel
Yeah.
And so I want to find out. Like, I just soundproofed my room a bunch, actually, since you guys have been there.
Oh, cool.
And it was totally in a way that a bunch of my engineer buddies said, like, no, don't do it this way. But I'm like, I'm going to do it this way. You know
it.
what? Because I kind of want to learn why it's not the way to
Yeah.
go.
Did you
I
order
feel you.
panels and stuff?
Well, I ordered a Walmart mattress topper, and by order I mean just walked in and bought one for $30, and then cut it up and
I'd like
spray
to order
painted it.
one topper, please.
Yes,
Yeah, you
just
go up to the
one
cashier,
topper,
she's like,
please.
Yeah, it's in that
Just go
aisle
get
over
it.
there. You're like,
Yo, asshole, it's right over there. Aisle 4, okay?
but I'm placing an order.
Do you know
Yeah.
who I am?
Yeah. I am the Wok guy.
The Wok guy.
No, and then I cut it up and spray painted it, which that was the funniest part, because I don't really have a backyard, as you two know. So I'm out in the front on the driveway on a busy intersection just spray painting shit in like my like fucking soccer shorts and like a shitty tee, just a trash hole. Woo! Spray paint shit, listening to Kill 'Em All.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, some
Your
of the
feet
looks
are
I
like all
got.
red and shit. All the spray paint on it.
Oh yeah. So I mean, but you know what? It was an experience, and if it was the wrong way to go, then I'll find out from experience. You know. And
Right.
to me, that's
well, so
that's
far
way
does it
more.
seem to be working out?
I haven't done one yet. I'm actually having Matty Leon's coming in tomorrow.
Cool.
So he will be the first. I'm a little worried that I didn't air out the panels enough before nailing them to my studio, so we might get a little high off fumes. But
That's awesome. I mean, worst comes to worst, it's not going to sound like
it can't
worse
sound
than it
worse.
was.
Exactly,
Yeah.
it can't, or at least
If
I don't
it does,
think
then
it
that
can.
is.
If it does, I fucked
Well,
up.
Those are
other,
some
other
weird
than you guys
panels.
Yeah.
slurring your words because there's so much fumes in the air.
Well, that's nothing new on my show. I mean,
Hey. One other thing I wanted to ask about. So these guys corroborated the story. I want to ask about your computer. How ancient is this thing? Because during your episodes, I fucking die laughing when you're like, okay, we got to stop it there. We got to let the computer rest a little bit. Like, to me, it sounds like you're like giving a sacrifice to like a volcano. Like, we must appease the computer.
Yeah. You just like take off your ring and just
human sacrifice.
yeah.
Yeah, dude. Well, I mean, it's not. It probably is pretty ancient, actually. Probably like early mid 2000s, but it was a gaming console, and it was actually
Okay.
custom built by my buddy Spicy Rob. Spicy Rob, if you're
Shout out to
listening,
Spicy Rob.
Shout out to
Spicy
Spicy
Rob.
Rob. Whoop, whoop. I mean, and the computer he built was way ahead of its time,
Sure.
but now it's not. So
Yeah.
it only ever really crashed on me once. I just don't ever want that to happen
Yeah, I was
again.
gonna say, was that
And with Pro
horrifying
Tools
enough?
8, you can't save on the fly.
Like while it's recording?
Right. And I
Oh,
mean, it's going to
jeez.
save the... Now, you would know more about this than I would probably, but it does like not a screenshot, but like it saves... I don't
Like
know.
an image?
I don't know. Yeah. That's probably what it is.
Like it saves what was recorded like up until then and stops.
yeah,
and then-
maybe like I don't know. Again, self-taught. But
Yeah.
I just figure, like, I don't even want to trust that. I'm just going to take the break.
So you had it happen
Pardon me?
before where it crashed on you and
Just
fucked up an
once,
episode?
yeah. But it was the first episode I ever did with somebody that I didn't know beforehand,
Nice.
Oh, okay, perfect time for it to
which
happen.
again was Matty Leon. But hey, he's coming back tomorrow, so it couldn't.
Oh,
have been that
redemption
bad.
episode.
Yes.
Redemption episode.
Do you think he's gonna
Cool.
grill you about it?
No, dude. See, I
Hey,
was
Wok,
grilling.
make sure that shit's working.
Yeah, I was grilling myself, and he was just like, "Dude, who fucking cares?"
Yeah.
man?
But
Like,
if
you're
it does
fine.
crash again,
if it
Then it's
crashes
his-
again,
then
He's
it's
the
Yeah,
problem.
that's his. Yeah, he's like, dude, you got to get the fuck out of here.
yeah, it's his fault.
Yeah.
Well, it happens. Horrific problems. At least you're not live.
Yeah.
Well, that's true.
Does it feel any different now that you're live?
No, I mean, if it was my first time, I'd probably be tripping balls right now. But I've done it a few times, and actually, it's funny, and I can't remember who brought it up, but just like the first time you fuck up at a gig, you're just like, okay, it's gonna be fine. Well, that sort of happened live to a Facebook and Twitter feed I did with Steve Vargas for the show's anniversary show, for the Wok Show anniversary. Where we thought we'd killed the audio feed at the end, but we actually didn't, and we were still talking, and our friends are just calling us like, his phone's vibrating because they're trying to be like, dude, turn off the audio feed before you say
Was
something.
it what you were
stupid."
saying when it was like, who doesn't like free shit?
Yeah. Because we were trying to give away some
Oh,
free
fuck
shit.
yeah. I remember that episode because I think I sent a message to your Instagram. I was like, because you had announced that you were doing it and everyone to tune in, but I didn't get a chance to check it out. And I was like, are you going to post it to your page? And you're like, I don't know.
Yeah. Well, it turned out okay. I mean, really, the worst thing we said was just like, who doesn't like free shit? Like, fucking take free shit.
Yeah, when I was listening,
Like,
I was
people
like,
are
damn, I
dumb.
wish I could. I was listening live. I would have fucking snatched some free shit.
Totally. Yeah.
Like who doesn't like free shit?
Well, yeah.
Depends on what shit.
Literal
well, see
shit.
that, and that's the actual answer. But I mean, I don't know. From our perspective, just make us feel cool and take
Yeah.
our free shit.
Yeah, just take the
Come
free
on.
shit. You can literally throw it in the trash as soon as we're out of your sight.
Yeah.
No,
yeah, totally.
not really.
Speaking of Steve, we're supposed to set up a date with.
Oh yeah.
Are you guys going on Take or Wide?
Well, we were
No,
thinking of
so we
having a
gotta
little
talk to
three-way
you.
action.
Oh.
Yeah, a little powwow.
Yeah, Steve brought up the idea of having us all meet up and
Do a little round table.
discuss what we can all do together, if you're interested at all.
Sorry, are you asking me?
Yes.
Yes.
No.
Oh, okay.
I was asking Ian.
Well,
Yeah,
I'm
dude,
out.
I'm asking you.
I'm out.
Well,
For that
shit,
reason,
I'd
I'm
totally
out.
be into that, man.
Yeah, I don't necessarily know what it will entail, but I think if we all get together and
It'd be pretty
have
funny.
a brew and talk shit and
Yeah, well, I mean, Vargas is. I can probably say with 100% certainty that I probably wouldn't have a podcast if it wasn't for Steve Vargas. So,
So did
yeah,
you
that
see.
guy's helped me out a ton, and yeah, I'll follow that guy anywhere, man.
What was the most valuable lesson you learned from Steve?
Well, I think just getting it going, like, and I can't even.
Like just doing it, like just
Yeah,
saying
like
fuck it, and
like
just
nothing
doing
to it but to do it kind
Yeah.
of thing. You
Okay.
know?
Cool.
Yeah, that's probably what it was. But I mean, I picked his brain a ton in the beginning, and I still do. But he's always so helpful, and he never he doesn't want anything for it. He just believes in a community of people. You know, much like a jam hall is full of bands. Like,
Yeah.
I think he just believes in a community of people that are just doing stuff like this. Where
for sure.
you know, he mentions sometimes like it got kind of lonely being the only guy on the block. You know.
Yeah, definitely.
And,
yeah, when he was leaving our episode, he's like, "We're brothers in arms now." It's pretty
Nah,
funny.
that dude
yeah.
fucking rules, man.
Yeah, it was
Brought
dope.
us some kick-ass hot sauce.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah,
man.
yeah, the
Have you-
heartbeat.
Yeah,
you finished
dude, that
yours?
shit's delicious. I'm almost done.
I flew through mine so quickly.
I'm being scarce about mine because
I meant to save some
that
for
shit's
Ian,
got
but I just,
gourmet
I blasted
prices.
through
Did
it.
you put yours on literally everything, or
Yeah, basically,
okay?
yeah.
I was looking at
My
like
asshole was bleeding.
I was like
for a
looking at
fucking
ordering
month.
like another case, and like I'm seriously debating ordering like a.
You
10
can buy
pack.
11. Oh,
You
yeah.
can, I
or
think
a
you can
10
buy
pack.
like 36 at
Yeah.
the same time as well.
But I don't
Really?
think I have like 300, 400 bucks
Damn,
for
you
that.
guys are really selling this thing. I kind of want to get some now.
Oh, dude, it's so fucking good.
Yeah. Heartbeat hot sauce.
Not a sponsor.
So did you like look to his show for inspiration for how you wanted to set yours up, or you just kind of
I tried not to because I really didn't want to step on his dick, you know.
right?
But I certainly looked to him as an inspiration, like just in terms of the types of questions he asks, and maybe even a little deeper than that, just sort of the mindset he gets into, because he goes pretty deep.
Yeah,
Like he's
for
a
sure.
really heartfelt, you know.
Yeah, there's definitely moments where it's like almost getting like philosophical.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
I wish that he wouldn't stop himself, because I find like he'll catch himself. He's like, no, that's some stoner shit.
Yeah. That's stupid, and you're like, that's smarter
Yeah.
than anything I've come up with in the last fucking 6 months. So.
Fuck, that's funny.
Maybe he just doesn't want to go down his own rabbit hole, where he just
Yeah.
ends up with like, and that's why the government.
Yeah,
just
true,
is like, oh shit. Yeah. Just gets to that point. He's like,
somebody knocking on the door.
I've said too much. I don't think so. I think it's just bands going in there, just like knocking this
Oh,
stuff.
okay.
And if they're here, then that's
Then
okay.
no.
Let him in.
It's okay.
Um,
I gotta throw this drink out anyways. Keep going.
would you like to do like more? Yeah. See, I told you,
Somebody
boys.
is knocking.
Would you guys like to do more like, or you at least do more live broadcasts going forward?
Yeah, I mean, oh, what's this?
I don't know.
What's going on here?
What do you see, Derek?
Yeah, why don't you tell us what's going on?
I don't know. My mom told me not to say anything unless it's something
We've
nice.
got an open
so-
door. We've got somebody standing at the door.
No, I'm just joshing.
Yeah, we just got a little visitor. Yeah, I
And
don't
he's
know.
saying it's super fucking hot.
I would
Mr.
love to do I'm open to doing any of
Yeah, I
that
was
kind of
gonna
stuff.
ask if not like a live broadcast. Like, is there any other ideas you've kind of been workshopping?
I'd like to do more kind of on the scene stuff. Like I'd like to
Yeah.
get maybe a little recorder, and it probably won't sound great, but just kind of maybe go to like a game music and
here
arts
comes the
festival.
space, baby.
Oh shit! And just maybe talk to people on the scene and sort of splice together something.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't put too much thought into it. I think right now I'm just trying to kind of work on the, sort of mixing engineering aspect of, well, not that the show requires like Bob Rock, but just trying to learn that kind of thing for now.
Well, to me as the listener, it sounds like A1, like top notch. Like going from, because I've been listening to you since you had Jordan and Fatty on
Oh yeah,
from Illicit. They were like, "Yo, you got to check out the Wok Show. Like, this guy's super dope." And I'm like, "Okay." So I put it on because we were like
That's gonna be
already in the talks. I don't think we had put out an episode or anything yet, but we were talking about doing a podcast. I'm like, "Okay, I got to check out what else is
No
going on
editing
around the
that out.
scene," because I really wasn't aware of like anything else. There's like maybe like 2 feminist podcasts in Waterloo that I'm aware of, and
Which
a couple
ones?
other ones. I don't know what they're called.
I know.
No
why.
free
Called "You're an
advertising.
Asshole" and you're not allowed to listen to this podcast, feminist podcast.
Yeah, pretty much. But no, they
But
they,
give us money on Patreon though. Sorry.
they told me to check you out, and I put on an episode while I was driving home one day, and I'm like, holy shit, this guy has a fucking voice for radio, man.
Yeah,
Like, this is
and your
wild.
commercials are pretty wild.
Yeah.
Cheers, man. Wow.
Yeah.
I don't even know how to hear that. But
Yeah, and your intros, it's like
Yeah, it's
I
fucking
just hear it, I'm
crazy.
like, whoa, like that sounds so.
Professional.
Yeah,
Fresh.
yeah, it feels like it's on the radio. I'm just, with like the music and everything.
Yeah,
like, this
yeah.
is brought to you by,
I like your little like mid-roll thing. Dun, dun,
All done by his voice.
Yeah.
I'm sure
It's
I
a
wasn't even
vocoder.
remotely close, but
No, it's honestly, I just found it easier than doing the live read.
Mhm.
I mean, more work up front because you have to. When I say write, but I'll put it in quotations. But write a piece of music, then kind of produce it and do your live
so
read.
you
but,
wrote all those
yeah,
pieces?
yeah.
Cool. I was curious about that.
But I mean, I don't know. It sounds and thank you first off, but
You're welcome.
It's a lot of work up front, or more work up front, I guess, to save time in the end. Because I mean, I suck at doing my monologues, and I found having to do the live read every single time. Today's episode is brought to you in part by Wellington Brewery. Well, blah 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 blah.
It's tough too when you've
It-
had like a
Shout out to
long
Wellington.
day and like
Yeah.
you forget things and you like wrap the episode and you're like,
Yeah.
fuck.
Oh, I forgot that
to
one
say
thing.
this
So like
shit
you
now.
put in the initial time up front, and now I can just blast that segment
Cool.
every episode and not have to worry about it. So
Yeah, I mean, I guess like that's kind of how things work. In the name of efficiency, at least, like put in a little work up front to alleviate yourself later.
yeah, well, and I think I mean, Jam Spots is a sponsor that just came on fairly recently, and the owner is a good friend of mine as well,
David Leader.
Robert Leader.
Fuck.
Oh wow, Christian.
Take a hike.
I should have looked at
Let's
my
go out
notes.
to
Call him
lunch.
David now. But it is nice
What
to
have I done?
approach them with sort of a commercial and just be like,
Yeah.
what do you think of this, instead of
Yeah.
you know,
I
Here's
actually-
here's
I-
a perfect commercial for you.
or
Here.
something, right?
Yeah.
Just something as opposed to nothing, right?
Yeah, I actually wanted to ask a question about Robert Leader and the episode you did with him.
It's David Leader.
Yeah, it's David.
I
Yeah.
mean, David.
David Lee, David Lee Rothert Leader.
David Lever Rob.
I'm sorry, Mr. Leader. He asked you about your jam hall and your time spent at jam spots, and he was trying to pry for
Yeah.
for like a horrendous story is what it sounded like to me. Like he wanted like some juicy tea to like sink his teeth
Loosen
into.
up those lips.
And I feel like you might have held something back just because he's basically your landlord, right? Is there any good kick-ass stories?
Spill the beans,
I mean,
dude.
Because you were like,
The
we
tea must
filmed
be
the music video.
spilled.
Come on, dude.
Not-
There's
not
gotta be
anything
some
beyond-
bullshit
like,
that
yeah,
happened.
Spill the beans,
You're doing
dude.
the same thing. You're doing the same
Spill
thing.
the beans.
Yeah, we called it Bach Day. So the day we got our singer in a Rise and Ruin, singer Ryan Bachman, and shout out to Bachman if he's listening. But we just got absolutely shittered. Everybody just puked and fucking. I mean, I don't know. Like,
That's the
I don't-
story?
I don't know what kind of story you're looking for. Like, we puked all over furniture.
I don't know, dude.
Hey,
I
that's
woke
perfect.
up. I
Something
woke
was
up
on
in a
fire.
chair covered in my own black vomit. I don't even know how you
Black.
get black vomit.
Just drinking the Kraken.
Yeah. I think a lot of
Jaeger.
Jack Daniels.
Jaeger.
Definitely some Jaeger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What furniture did you puke on?
See, this
just
is
a
it. This
chair,
is
but
it.
but it was our
This is
chair.
the story.
so-
It's all about the details. It's
This
all
is-
about the
see,
details.
yeah, I guess I just don't see.
Like,
and-
was it on some like nice china, or
No,
was it like
no,
I
a
think that's furniture.
It would have been
dude.
on.
no, like a nice china cabinet?
How
Sorry,
much nice china are you keeping
you
at your
puked in the
jam
china
hall?
cabinet
I
on
sit
the
on a
china.
bunch of china.
How do you puke on a country?
I
On
don't
the
know.
other side of the
Some people
world.
are doing
I
it
don't
pretty
know.
well right now.
Oh, fair enough.
Yeah.
Heyo. Yeah, I don't know, but I mean, it would have been a chair that we got from like fucking, I don't know, a Curb or Goodwill or who knows.
Okay, cool.
So it's not really that scandalous. So I mean, it's not like I was against telling a story, but like, there just aren't really that many cool stories. Like it's, yeah,
Man,
I know, right?
Hey, Christian,
Weak.
do you have any cool stories?
about this jam hall?
Yeah.
Like we were jamming, and then our drummer was like, "Oh, let's do a part in 7," and we were like, "Whoa!"
Let's try that for half an hour and then rage quit.
Well, I won't name any names, but there was once a man on a ton of psychedelic mushrooms trying to climb through the wall.
No, he tried to
Holy
run
fuck.
into the wall, trying to go through it.
See, that's
Oh,
the
yeah, yeah,
story.
dimension.
Like,
He lunged into. So behind this brick wall right here is a another wall, and before we got those bricks laid up all behind there,
The blue ones
the blue ones, right? Exactly.
Yep.
Christian is
touching the bricks.
touching it. How hard are those bricks?
Quite coarse.
Right. I've expected nothing of bricks.
You expect nothing of them?
You were
But
very
I
close
hope they
to the
keep
side.
the roof up.
Before we put this brick wall up, there was another wall, and it was made of particle board, and we had like this taped, like geometric shape that was like a test. It's called a tesseract, and it's like a 4-dimensional shape. And he was tripping on a bunch of psychedelics, and there was one point when he was on the other side of the room, and he was kind of just zoning out off into the wall. We didn't know what to expect, and then he just ran and just jumped like headfirst into it, and just did that thing you would expect like a crash test dummy to do when they jump into it. They kind of like limp out, and then they just fall on the ground.
Oh my god.
And then we're like, yeah.
Do you think he truly expected to go through it, or do you think he was doing it for
expecting something.
slapstick, like a little bit? Like, hey, I'm gonna fuck with these?
Yeah, he thought it would work.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, Adam was there too. Adam had a fucking great time. Yeah. Other fun stuff. You know.
What other stories
Pissing
you got
and-
from this place, Christian?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. One's where you were here.
let's see.
Come on, Christian.
Yeah,
Where's
come
the
on,
story,
dude.
bro?
Spill the beans, dude.
Where's the
Come
tea
on.
at?
I don't
Where's
know.
the
I would
tea?
need a night to think about it, because
Oh
there's
my
definitely stories up there.
God,
There's
dude.
de-
Come on, Chris.
Oh, I have one. I have one actually.
Okay.
So you came over one time, and we were having a couple beers, and you said, "Hey, you know anything about podcasts?"
Did I whisper it
Yeah,
in
you
your
did.
ear
You
like
whispered
that?
it, but you're really no. You said, "Do you know anything about podcasts?" And I said, "Yeah." And that's where we are now.
Yeah, this is how we got
Yeah,
here.
that's pretty wild. That's pretty crazy.
Hey, so do you still listen to Joey Diaz's podcast?
Not for a while.
I got
but-
kind of sick of hearing the same
yeah,
shit.
it's kind of one note, but it's amazing, right? Like it's
Let me fucking tell you.
yeah.
He
They
told a
just fuck with
story.
the engineer for like 3-4 hours.
Where they gave him like all those edibles.
yeah,
Yeah,
fucking
yeah.
Lee Syatt.
Yeah, Lee Syatt.
And he just takes his headphones off, and he's just
Yeah.
just doesn't know what the hell is going
He had,
on.
I think he had 500 milligrams of edibles.
Oh jeez.
Holy shit.
Yeah, I don't think anyone's okay when that
No,
No.
happens.
That's kid stuff.
That's kid stuff.
according to
says.
Adam.
Yeah.
Well, I have one more thing.
What is
Oh.
it?
Tell us.
And I want to ask about Gain Music Fest. So, you and Vargas did like a live show. Did you do live to Facebook from there,
No,
or was it
we
just like
just-
kind of live off the floor,
We
like you
just
were pulling
tracked it,
people
yeah.
up? Cool.
And aired it on our channels. Yeah.
How did that like come about? Because I know you judged like a battle of the bands as well for the festival. Like
Not for the festival, for the company. So
Okay, okay.
Gain Music did a battle of the bands. I think we're doing another one later this year, but yeah. So I mean, in a nutshell, I'm just friends with those guys, and they kind of gave me the
They
opportunity.
reach out to you?
Yeah.
Cool.
May I
Yeah.
ask, when you're a judge of a battle of the bands, what do you personally look for that makes a band, that makes you pick that band?
I mean, we did have like a score sheet that we were supposed to go by, but I mean, there definitely was a band, and I had them on, or at least the singer, a band called Cake Face.
Cake Face, nice.
You know what I love?
And they were
Cake
fucking
farts.
awesome. Yeah, exactly. You know what I love? Cake Face. I mean, they had this kind of detuned, kind of NOLA sort of COC down, meets something more palatable, like, shit. I mean, I don't want to say Nickelback, but like a more palatable style of rock and roll, I
Yeah.
guess. Like maybe a Thornley or something
Yeah,
like that.
okay.
Like it could be on the radio
Totally,
kind of thing.
yeah, but it had that-
cool.
You
that
can say
kinda-
Nickelback, by the
Well,
way.
no,
It's
I
the
feel like
Nickelback
safe zone.
if
Onto
Josh
Nickelback.
from the band was listening, he would be pissed if I said that, probably. But
Yo, these guys turned me on to Nickelback.
yeah, now I love Nickelback. I don't know what to tell you.
Trust me, Feed the Machine. We'll go listen
I like
to it.
doing burnouts in parking lots too.
We'll turn you on to Nickelback after this.
Yeah, definitely
Okay.
will. But so yeah, what do you when you're looking at a battle of the bands, and what are you looking for? Like what's
Well, I mean, again, we had the score sheet, so it was. But if you're asking me personally, what I look for, like, I think authenticity without being ridiculous. I guess. Like, authenticity while still realizing that this is maybe not a business, but like a vehicle to convey songs to other people,
Yeah.
right? So like my favorite band in the world is Ween, and they are just fucking ridiculous. But I feel like they kind of break the mold. But when it comes to any other band, I guess I'm a giant hypocrite. But if you're gonna be authentic, you should be, but you should also deliver it in a way that's
Palatable?
I don't know. I'm trying to say this without shitting on people or bands or anything, but
Shit on them.
So those kind of artsy bands where like halfway into the set, the singer guitar player will take his shoes off and then just like lay on the floor in the crowd and then like climb on the amps, but not in any sort of aggressive showman way. Just like
He's like tripping.
flex the vibe, man.
Oh my
like,
goodness.
yeah,
Really feel out the room.
fuck
Yeah.
that shit.
So did you have to judge any bands like that?
Oh yeah.
Fuck
yeah.
that, dude.
And you were like, 0. Reason climbed on amp.
Shoes
yeah.
taken off.
Creeps me
Yeah.
right out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Foot odor problem.
in
off the
circumstances
shoes.
like judging live performances, are you looking more at the music or the showmanship, or is it a balance of the two?
It was a balance, and it was also a balance with and this is gonna sound so shitty, but there's a reason, like ticket sales, and the reason why that was part of the scoring is because bands gotta hustle, right?
True.
Like, I didn't get paid a cent, so it wasn't about me profiting, but that is part of being in a viable band, right?
Cool. Is there anything you guys want to touch on?
No. I mean, is there anything you want to like plug or anything you
I
want?
mean,
Anybody you
shit.
want to shout out? Any last homies?
It would be amazing if people checked out the podcast. It's
Fuck
on
yeah.
Facebook
The
and
Wok Show.
Instagram. It's
I
called
give it
the
a
Wok
5
Show.
stars.
5 out
It's
of
good
5.
as shit.
Dude.
Definitely would go on again.
Well, yeah, you guys will have to come back again. And
You'll have
actually,
to come back here.
all y'all motherfuckers gotta come.
Oh
Fuck
yeah.
yeah.
But,
You're gonna
yeah.
crowd us all in that room?
I'll make it happen.
Oh,
somehow.
You
yeah.
don't even know the size of the
Or maybe
room,
we'll
dude.
do the
I don't
round
know.
table thing with Vargas.
Yeah,
we'll,
let's do
we'll
it.
Yeah.
pick a venue, do that a jam hall or something. But
Oh,
yeah,
right
I mean,
here?
Yeah.
it's the Wok Show WOK. It's on Facebook and Instagram, pretty much all the major podcast platforms as well. But,
Cool.
Yeah.
That's a low rumble we got over there.
Yeah.
All right, yeah. The other bands in the
I think
jam
they're
halls
saying- I
are
think they're
warming
saying
up.
it's
So
time.
Mustang Sally.
yeah,
Ooh.
we'll pop
Gotta
a
get
cork
my
in
white
it.
guy
Yeah,
two-step
find us
on.
at Ape Audio at Ape Audio on Instagram.
Uh-huh.
I don't know. Fist the bell if you want to keep watching us. If you
Yeah,
want to keep
sub
listening
that
to
YouTube
conversations
channel,
with us and
'cause we're
these
here.
fine fellas here, these handsome hunks.
Yeah.
Go to the Wok
And,
Show.
yeah, check out the Wok Show.
And eat shit.
Yeah, and eat shit and die.
Okay.
Peace.
Eat shit and
Derek.
live.
Hey,
Peace.
thank you.
Bye.